Hey guys, this is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News with a Rock and Metal News flashback. I'm going to take you back to 1982 to a couple of albums that were very influential in my life. Back in when I was listening to music in, say, grade, 5, 6, 7, I was listening to mostly stuff like Kiss, Led Zeppelin, The Who, and bands like that. And now hitting into the teenage years, most generations want to have that music that defines their generation. And there were three major bands that were coming out at that time that kind of defined the generation for myself that I loved. One was Black Sabbath, the other was Iron Maiden, and the third was Judas Priest. Those were the three main bands that I sort of got into after kind of the Zeppelin Aerosmith era. And the first album was Screaming for Vengeance. This one here was just amazing, and it just had a huge impact on my life. There's songs on this that the band still play in concert now, which are The Helian, Electric Eye, Screaming for Vengeance, and You've Got Another Thing Coming. This album was absolutely solid, and it took Judas Priest to the one step heavier than their last album. They really started to get heavy. They started to wear more of the leather, and just they had a really good stage show, and they took it up a notch in the heaviness. And this album also had Riding on the Wind, Bloodstone, Take These Chains, Pain and Pleasure, Fever, and Devil's Child. So what a absolutely solid album this was. There's a back. Lucky enough to have this still on vinyl. I played this over and over again, and just an amazing album. The next one was It's, the follow-up to Screaming for Vengeance, and this is really when I really got into Judas Priest. I absolutely love this album, and that is Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith. And just they had their metal monsters on the cover, and they had a pretty cool insert. Screaming for Vengeance didn't have any really good inserts, but of course this one has all the lyrics. Back when you could buy records, they had all the lyrics on them and that, and it had kind of a picture on the other side. And this was just a huge album in my life. And the first song that I believe, I'm going to say there was a first single that they ever played off of this, where heads are gonna roll. Some heads are gonna roll. I remember hearing that one first on the radio. Then it kind of followed with Freewheel Burden. They did a music video for that. Then Love Bites. This has Jawbreaker on it, Rock Hard, Ride Free, The Sentinel, which I think is one of the ultimate Judas Priest songs, is The Sentinel. I mean, that's got everything in it. Eat Me Alive, Night Comes Down, which is almost like a little ballad for them, Heavy Duty, and Defenders of the Faith to finish it off. But what an amazing album, and I'd love to see them play more of this live. Sometimes they play Jawbreaker, but I would love to hear them play Freewheel Burnin' again live. But they just have such a huge catalog of music now that it's tough to get some of the real old ones playing live again. Judas Priest, they could go on tour and play stuff just from Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith, and maybe Painkiller, and they could just have an absolute kick-ass concert on those three albums alone, no matter previous music as well. But I just wanted to share a flashback of some Judas Priest that were huge in my life, and I will be showcasing some more music that I used to listen to and I thought were some albums that were amazing in heavy metal, and that we can talk about a bit. This is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News. Thanks for tuning in.